This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Hi again, so glad you could join us for another edition of the Farm Monitor. As you just heard in the opening, I am Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. As we do every week, a promise to bring you up to speed on all the latest news regarding Georgia agriculture. Coming up, Nashville, Tennessee, home of country music and the site of this year's American Farm Bureau Federation Convention. We'll recap the major issues discussed and hear from American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall to get his outlook for 2018.
And speaking of 2018, the Monitor sits down with Georgia Ag Commissioner Gary Black for his crystal ball analysis of the upcoming year, why the commissioner says the Georgia Grown program will get even better. And then later,
well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick, if you're a bird watcher like I am and maybe this past year hadn't had as much luck as you would like, I got some tips for you this month on how to attract birds to your winter bird feeder, and it involves a slinky that'll help you out. All that and so much more starts right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
An appearance by the President and the Grand Ole Opry just a stone's throw away. Those are just some of the many highlights of this year's American Farm Bureau Federation Convention and meeting. Our John Holcomb was there and has the story.
Here in Music City, more than 7,000 American Farm Bureau members gathered at the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center for this year's annual convention and trade show. The convention was kicked off with an opening session from Farm Bureau's president, Zippy Duvall, which was just elected to his second term during the convention.
I can't think of a better place than here in Nashville to kick off our year and celebrate Farm Bureau's rich history and our bright future.
The general sessions were packed full as important topics to the agriculture community were addressed. President Duvall set the tone during the opening session as he brought up some hot topics like tax reform.
It's thanks to your engagement that Congress passed tax reform last year, giving farmers a new 20% deduction on their business income, doubling the estate tax exemption, and preserving tax credits that farmers depend on, and lowering our individual tax rate.
He also made sure to address the growing concerns about trade negotiations that have been going on for some time.
As I traveled, I have discovered that even some of us within agriculture don't understand what's at stake if we lose these trade agreements. Trade should not be a dirty word, because without those global markets and with our already depressed farm economy, will get even worse.
The United States exports about half of the agricultural products we produce to foreign markets. Duvall wasn't shy to mention that, along with the importance in maintaining good trade relations. He even suggested that even more markets need to be created to expand exports that much more.
If we lose those markets, where's that agricultural production going to go? And how are we as farmers and ranchers going to make up for that lost income? We can't afford to lose those farm markets. And in fact, we need to be opening up new markets. We need to pursue opportunities and eliminate trade barriers in Asia and the European Union and all around the world.
The United States Secretary of Agriculture was even in attendance. He too spoke about trade and its importance to American agriculture. He made sure to stress to farmers that they will not be left out at the negotiation table.
We know that trade is a key to rural and farm prosperity. Canada and Mexico continue to be major markets for United States exports. So a successful completion and improvement of the NAFTA negotiations remains a top priority of this administration. But to get a deal, we need all sides to seriously roll up their sleeves and get to work.
Secretary Perdue also spoke about another important topic, and that is unity, and how important it is to make sure agriculture's voice is heard to those in Washington.
I want to encourage you, I want to exhort you, do not ever stop speaking up for the American farmer. Your voice is powerful. No longer can we afford to hide behind the gates of our farms and expect the world to tell the truth about what we do, and you know that to be the case.
Reporting from the American Farm Bureau Convention in Nashville for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Thank you, John. Another highlight of this year's convention, President Trump's address to Farm Bureau members. First time since George H.W. Bush in 1992 that a current U.S. president attended the annual meeting. During his address, President Trump praised farmers and ranchers, calling them the future of our nation. Additionally, he signed 2 executive orders related to expanding rural broadband access.
Streamlining and expediting requests to locate broadband facilities in rural America. Give me that one, too. Supporting broadband tower facilities in rural America and federal properties managed by the Department of the Interior. Those towers are going to go up, and you are going to have great, great broadband. Thank you.
All right, more from Nashville coming up in just a bit. But first, let's focus on Savannah, where recently Georgia fruit and vegetable growers gathered for their yearly meeting.
Yeah, Ray, talking, of course, about the Southeast Regional Fruit and Vegetable Conference. It's a great way for growers to network and to learn what's new in this very important ag sector. The Monitor's Damon Jones has the story.
Each and every year, the Southeast Regional Fruit and Vegetable Conference brings growers from a number of different states together to see some of the advancements made in an ever-changing industry. Between the trade show and informational sessions, producers can get everything they need and more.
The Southeast Regional Conference gives growers an opportunity to learn a lot of things, see a lot of new techniques, see a lot of new equipment, technology. It's kind of a one-stop shop kind of deal. Within 2 or 3 days, they can sit in on 13 different educational conferences and see 250 different vendors.
Even though it might be a slow time of year for vegetable growers, it doesn't mean they shouldn't already be planning for next season.
Right now is the best time to develop a program. You cannot get behind whatsoever, whether what part of the integrated program you're using, whether it's tillage, whether it's herbicides, whether it's cover crops, you got to develop that program now. We have to stay ahead of weeds and vegetable production because we simply don't have the tools to play catch up.
As for what type of invasive species farmers should be on the lookout for,
if we're in plasticulture or most anywhere in Georgia, weeds like nutsedge, pigweed, grasses in general are very, very problematic. Purslane has become more and more problematic. We have both a very pretty purslane, pink purslane and yellow purslane, but the weeds that were a problem last year in most situations are going to be a problem this year. In our vegetable production, it's usually the same trends.
Culpepper also emphasized that getting off to a good start is essential for vegetable production.
And of course, never, ever, ever plant a vegetable crop into a field that's already infested with weeds. We must be weed-free at planting. If we're not in vegetable production, you're going to lose.
After a rough 2017 that saw a lack of chill hours, a hurricane, and a late freeze, the 2018 peach crop is going to need to be a good one for producers.
This year crop is actually very important because as a grower you need a consistency, a return on investment. So everybody's excited because now we're finally accumulating some normal chill. The season is actually becoming more what we normally would see in average.
That average is important for farmers when choosing which varieties to grow. However, with so many unforeseen circumstances, it might be smart to be conservative with your estimate.
What is the lower chill group that you can grow? What's the highest chill group that you can grow? That can tell you which varieties you can plant. So maybe the higher chill group has to be a little bit more pushed down because having those higher chill groups means that more likely when we have a lack of chill, those varieties are not going to make it.
So whether it's information, seed, or equipment you're looking for, this conference strives to bring everything together under one roof.
It brings together both that educational role, they're learning in the sessions, and then they're being able to see the people that are actually has the products, has the seeds, has the chemicals, what it is that they need to be able to produce that product.
Reporting from Savannah, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
All right, Damon, thank you so much. So what's next for Georgia Grown and for Georgia Ag in 2018? Commissioner Gary Black weighs in when the Farm Monitor continues.
Shall we say we were blessed with many opportunities in 2017. I'm sure we'll have some of those, in the upcoming year as well, but we we could really use the peach crop and the blueberry crop, and I hope the Lord allows that to happen this time. We spent a considerable amount of time looking into the faces of farm families on the, kind of on the edge, and I hope the opportunities this year are the opportunities for a little more of a normal season and a profit, for sure. I don't know if I can numerically place it in the worst or the last, but I think the concentration of so many events during one period of time really made it challenging. It's the agriculture roller coaster that we ride every year. It's just, I guess if I'm looking for 2018, I'd love for us to maybe have a kiddie coaster this year rather than the scream machine, because the tall hills and the deep valleys, I hope we can maybe mitigate some of those in this coming year. There are several things, Ray, and I think it's going to be very important for Farm Bureau members. And you have your legislative priorities. The Georgia General Assembly is about to kick off. I think it's going to be really important to look at the gate card again. I think there's going to be some ideas of how to tighten that up just a little bit. Maybe move some of the numbers that are, where the qualifications are. I've not seen any specific legislation, but I know that that will be a focus for us. Domestic and international marketing, which through Georgia Grown and Farm Bureau has been such a good partner with the expansion of the brand. But the effect of this brand is still amazing. And so as much as we've done, we've only gotten started. There's much more we're doing with our commodity commissions on specific marketing of Georgia products. When I say domestically, one of our hopes and our plans is we need to be a more domestic food shows in America. We need the identity. It's good to have United States pecans wherever you go, but we also know that Georgia pecans are the best. And so we've our campaign to advance kind of Georgia Grown 2.0 is that Georgia Grown, nature's favorite state. That's our new cut line that goes with Georgia Grown, to establish this brand at some domestic trade shows in a more aggressive fashion.
Preparing the next generation of Farm Bureau leadership is critical for the well-being of the organization. Now, that's something we hear time and time again.
At the American Farm Bureau's annual convention in Nashville, young farmers from around the country competed in many different events, and Georgia was well represented, as John Holcomb explains.
The Young Farmer and Rancher program in Georgia and around the country is geared toward providing leadership, educational, and social opportunities for men and women between the ages of 18 and 35. In Nashville, Georgia was well represented in all of the Young Farmer events. Thomas and Alicia Harrell from Madison County competed for the Young Farmer Achievement Award. We also had Josh and Sky Panino, who were proud to be in Nashville representing the Peach State, competing in the Excellence in Ag competition. The Excellence in Ag Award is an award to highlight someone who supports Ag and Farm Bureau, but receives a majority of their income off the farm.
We try to be good representatives and good advocates throughout the year, and so to be here at the national level, it's a huge accomplishment, and we hope that we represent Georgia very well.
For Sky, it was almost like deja vu. Just last year, she was at the convention representing Georgia in the Young Farmer discussion meet. She shared with us how she feels being back this year, competing at the national level again.
The nerves are still there, I guess, until you start and get it out of the way. But now I get to actually relax and actually enjoy the rest of the conference. Last year I was competing all the way up until the morning of the general session, and so I didn't really get to enjoy different aspects of the conference.
The discussion meet helps to develop leaders by giving the participants a topic and having them talk through ideas. Will Godowns, a manager of a beef operation in Pike County, represented Georgia in the discussion meet, an event he really enjoys.
I feel comfortable, I enjoy it. I had never really let nerves get the best of me. It's just talking. At the end of the day, it's just talking and having fun while you're doing it. My favorite thing about the event is getting to sit down with people in similar operations to me across our state and here at National, across the whole country and see how these topics affect their state and affect their operations.
Competition and prizes are not the only thing these competitors win in these competitions. They also develop great skills that can help them in other aspects of their lives.
Through the years of doing this, it has definitely developed my speaking skills, my analytical skills, and being able to communicate with other people on topics that I might not agree with them on. And so I feel like, you know, I almost want to say, yes, I'm a product of the Farm Bureau discussion meet. It has helped me become who I am as far as a speaker, as far as a communicator today.
The competitions are a great experience, and they had this to say to anyone interested in maybe competing one day.
Don't worry about how you think you talk or what other people might say. Just get out there and talk. At the end of the day, it's just talking. There's 4 people at a table. Don't worry about the audience. Don't worry about everybody else. You're just in a small group talking like a group of friends sitting around the table, you know. Don't let it become this big production that you're afraid of. Get out there and try it.
You never know until you try. The first time I did the discussion meet, it was terrifying, but after that, it's not so bad. And just take a look at it and try.
Reporting from the American Farm Bureau Convention in Nashville for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Don't forget, if you missed any part of this story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Plenty of stuff to choose from. In fact, the archives go back to 2009.
And while you're there, keep clicking like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page. Send us some feedback as well if you have a story idea, or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion. Send us a message either on Facebook or at the address on your screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com.
Hey everybody, coming up, if you're looking to get those birds at the bird feeder this winter and interested in maybe how a slinky could help, I'll have the answer after this.
Well, welcome back. A fun time had by all as the Georgia Farm Bureau, in partnership with the FFA, presented the Bainbridge High School chapter with the Chevy Silverado truck recently. This prize was earned throughout the year by the students for participating in the GFB membership drive, in which each chapter sold at least 50 memberships in order to enter the drawing.
Well, the kids were very excited about winning the truck, and we'll be able to utilize this vehicle to take students to competitions, also to be able to do farm visits and supervised agricultural experience visits, and it's going to help our program, you know, get around the county and around Southwest Georgia.
By the way, Georgia FFA, third largest state association with close to 42,000 members. Finally today, to his credit, Ranger Nick did not have to travel very far for his latest adventure.
Nope, all he had to do is wake up, throw on his UGA extension apparel, and walk out his back door. Check it out, bird lovers.
Well, you know, we shoot all over the state of Georgia with the Georgia Farm Monitor, and this month I wanted to stay close to home and share with you my own backyard and talk about how you can attract birds during the wintertime. You know, I'm not alone. There are over 40 million people that engage in bird watching, and I want to start by talking about things you have in your backyard that might indicate you got good bird habitat. One of them is a dead tree. We call it a snag. What a wonderful location for birds, especially woodpeckers, to find different kinds of insects to eat. This is a great indication that you've got woodpeckers probably in the area, and I'm going to tell you about the kind of feeder to get here in just a second. The next thing I want to talk about is a simple question for your yard. Do you have more woods or do you have more grass and fields in your yard? That is going to drive the kinds of bird feeders that I'm going to talk about in a second. And as you can see in my backyard, maybe you're not surprised, a lot of woods out here. We love spending time outside in the woods. So I want to talk next about some of the different feeders that you have an opportunity to buy and how to watch your pocketbook as well with those. So let's go there next. So if you've examined your backyard and looked around and found that you do in fact have one of those little gems, one of those snags, those standing dead trees, one of the things you want to make sure that you get when you go to the store is one of these metal baskets. You can buy these for a suet cake. Buy yourself a little suet cake. These are about $1.50 at the most. It's just fat and kind of lard with a bunch of seeds in there. You put this guy inside of this cage and hang it from a tree. Woodpeckers are going to go crazy. They're going to love that snag, and they're going to love these in your yard too. So there's a couple bucks. Now, if you've got more woods in your backyard like I do, I want to encourage you to get a couple of these kind of hexagon-shaped feeders. Very, very simple. Birds can go all the way around them. These are less than 10 bucks. Gang, I'm going to tell you, you can spend $70 or $80 on a bird feeder. I never spend more than about 10. The birds don't care how much it costs. This is a wonderful addition to be able to hang up from a pole. I'm going to talk about that pole in a second. You got a couple different sizes, the big one and then the small one here. Again, with the 6 sides, enables those birds to sit all the way around it. Now, if you do happen to have more field and more grass in your area, this is something I'm going to encourage you to get right here. This is a tube feeder like this, and finches love these, and one of the favorite birds that bird watchers love to see is an American goldfinch, and they love these tube feeders. They love to sit on either side and eat like that. You got that kind of tube feeder, and then you can put some cracked corn and things in another kind of tube feeder. Again, gang, less than 5 bucks for these guys. You can spend 30 or 40. I keep it on the cheaper side. Now, when it comes to buying the bird feed, I want you to notice I've got mine inside of a metal can. That's because those darn squirrels will get in here and eat through wood or paper. Put it in a metal can, about 20 bucks for one of these. And then the kind of seed to get, I get black oil sunflower seeds, and I get them only. I find that getting a whole bag of these keeps out some of the millet and some of that other feeder stuff, and the birds love these the most. Get yourself a 20-pound bag of that, and it'll last you for several weeks for sure. With that being said, I want to talk about when you buy these, how do you install them and where do you install them? So let's go there next. So we're thinking about how much money you're going to spend on some of these things, and the reality is folks in the U.S. spend billions and billions of dollars on bird feeding accessories. Now, I don't do that. This simple pole right here is going to be the most amount of money you spend, $50 or $60, and I want you to notice I've installed this pole 6 to 8 feet away from this azalea bush over here. That is critical to remember, everybody, 6 to 8 feet from something, because if you put that bird feeding pole out in the middle of a field, it's too risky for those birds, too risky. I've also got a squirrel baffle on here to keep those pesky squirrels from crawling up and getting a hold of that feed. Now I want to show you another version here. Got a couple other bird feeders over here in my backyard with another type of squirrel baffle, just an old school kind, a little cone. This guy right here, $10 or $15, couple of bird feeders, again 6 to 8 feet away from that azalea bush. Now if you're looking to have a little bit of fun, look out your window and watch those pesky squirrels, instead of getting yourself a squirrel baffle like that, get yourself a slinky. Put this thing and attach it onto the pole with a little attaching strip like that. Attach it on there, and as those squirrels go to climb up, they'll hook it and pull that down, and you'll have all kinds of fun there at the feeder, and especially watching. And that's half the joy of feeding the birds, is getting the enjoyment yourself. I want to talk about some of the extras to put around your feeders and around the bushes you got there, and I want to go there next. So now let's get into accessorizing your backyard and enjoying those birds. I want you to notice I've got a couple of bird baths, one right here and one over there, and inside of these bird baths, I've got a rock that I've placed in the center. As simple as that is, that shows the birds how deep that water is, and they're more likely to get in it and drink from it as well as bathe in it. You'll love watching that. I also have in my yard, I didn't forget to put these leaves anywhere. I have a pile of leaves, and literally what I like to do is come underneath some of the bushes and add those leaves underneath. It's not only a great source of mulch, but it also encourages worms and grubs to get under the tree, and the birds will roost in the tree at night and have a little buffet to eat as well. Last thing I want to show you, and I love to do this in my yard, is pile up some of these sticks. And notice again, the 6 to 8 foot rule, 6 to 8 feet away from the feeder. I've got a pile of brush right here, a great little habitat and home, as well as a warm spot for birds to sit in. You're going to see those wrens, those chickadees, those titmice, those cardinals loving to get in this, especially in the winter. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed hanging out in my backyard with me this month. This has been a lot of fun. Maybe we'll have a little contest. Maybe you'll take some pictures of the birds that you've seen at home, put them on Facebook when you're on the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page, and you slide on over to the Ranger Nick Facebook page. Send me some of those pictures. I'd love to help you identify those birds. Well, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you as always that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. We'll look forward to seeing you and everybody right back here when we get together again next month. See ya.
All right, Nick, very nice job. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure to check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and with us here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.